You ever walk into a brand new life thinking you finally outran all your old problems and then trip face first into a brand new kind of nightmare? Yeah, that was me. Boxes in the back of my truck, keys still warm in my palm, heart full of hope, when the neighborhood queen herself came storming down the gravel phone out like a badge, eyes sharp enough to slice bread. She didn't even bother with a hello, didn't care to ask my name. She just let loose this icy hiss that's still stuck in my brain. People like you don't belong here. And just like that, before I'd even unlocked the front door, the cops were already rolling up. Welcome to my Lakeside dream, right? Name's Mark. 34, spent years fighting city noise, saving every spare dollar just to buy myself a little slice of peace, a rundown cabin with the lake out back, a patch of trees, birds in the morning groceries stacked in the red Chevy. I'm a quiet guy, work from home, never caused a scene in my life. All I wanted was quiet. All I got was the HOA stormtrooper in a denim jacket waving a phone and screaming for backup. There I was, groceries in one arm, bread balanced on top, standing on the porch, watching the lake shimmer in the afternoon sun. Should have felt like a beginning, felt more like a punchline. My so-called welcome party was Karen. Every neighborhood's got one, right? She didn't wait for me to close the tailgate, didn't blink at the stack of boxes or the washer I'd wrangled out of the truck, just stared hard and mean like she'd been waiting for a stranger to hate. First I laughed. Had to. Who gets greeted like that? I thought maybe it was a prank, a weird neighborly ritual. But Karen's face didn't move. Her lips pressed so tight they went white, and she jabbed her phone somewhere between dialing 911 and reciting the HOA's rules from memory. Within minutes, 2 police cruisers snaked up the road, boots crunching, radios crackling. Karen hovered behind them, chin-high, arms crossed, like she'd called in the cavalry to save the kingdom. And let me tell you, I never thought the words disturbance and Mark would appear in the same sentence. One cop asked for my ID. My hand was shaking so hard the card nearly slipped. Karen leaned in, stage whispered dangerous, just loud enough for me and the world to hear. Me, the guy who returns shopping carts and helps old ladies at the store. Suddenly, I'm public enemy number 1 right there on my own front step. I tried to explain, showed the deed, showed the papers. The officer thumbed through them. Karen hovering, snapping about rules I hadn't even read yet. Large appliances can't be outside. He's already breaking code 4.3. That washer. Been there 5 minutes tops. The cop finally glanced my way inside. Ma'am, he just moved in. The neighbors had started drifting out to watch, all eyes, all whispers, some pity, some rolling their eyes at Karen's show. I realized then I wasn't the first target, just the latest one, unlucky enough to stand between her and her precious order. And man, she kept going. She pointed, listed off codes, recited violations like she was auditioning for a courtroom drama. The cops played referee, tried to keep it calm, but you could see it in their faces. They knew exactly what kind of circus this was. Still, Karen's word weighed more than my truth. My heart was pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. But in that twisted standoff, something snapped. It wasn't fear anymore. It was this ugly, itching question, why me? Why so much hate before she knew a thing about me? And as I stood there silent, letting her screech about rules, I saw the crowd, the little knots of neighbors peeking from porches, whispering, not daring to step in. Except one. Old Harold, leathery face years etched into his skin, finally spoke up. He's right, Karen. Let the man move in. Karen's glare could have melted steel, but the damage was done. The spell was cracking. The cops handed back my papers, told her it was over. Told me to finish unloading. As they drove off, you could feel the power drain right out of her. Her performance ended, audience dispersing. She just stood there, lips thin, eyes burning holes in my back. I knew it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Karen wasn't done until she won. I made it through the night barely. Every creak in the cabin, every flicker on the lake felt like another warning. Next morning, boom, note taped to my door. No signature bold black print. Notice of violation. Washer on the porch. Boxes visible. Truck too bright. I just stared. Too bright. A red truck in America. I laughed out loud, a cold, bitter laugh. But I knew what this was, a warning shot. And just as I finished breakfast, another note. Noise violation. I hadn't even unpacked my stereo. Guess the sound of my heartbeat offended her. Neighbors avoided me that day, eyes on the ground. Except Harold. He waved me over to his porch that evening, handed me a mug of coffee. She's run this place for years, he muttered. Controls the votes, knows every trick. You fight her head on, she'll bury you in paperwork. So how do you beat her, I asked. He just grinned, all teeth. Compliance. Out Karen, Karen. That night I lay awake, compliance echoing around my skull. Could you really fight back by following the rules better than the tyrant herself? I decided to try. Measured the porch, parked the truck exactly 12 inches from the curb, trimmed the grass down to regulation stacked boxes out of sight. Even checked the color code on my mailbox. Next day, Karen's back, phone, clipboard, full battle rattle. But everything was perfect. No violations to sling not a single blade of grass out of place. She stalked off frustrated, that little victory sweet as pie. But the war only heated up. Every day a new note, a new fine improper lawn maintenance trash can, out of place mailbox paint. But each time I was bulletproof. Started reading the HOA handbook like a lawyer, memorizing every word. That's when I found it. Karen's own house didn't meet the standards she enforced. Her mailbox was too tall. Trash cans visible. Shutters the wrong shade. I snapped photos, filed a formal complaint. Suddenly the neighbors were whispering, not about me, but about her. You want a twist? Here it is, I wasn't alone. The quiet ones, the ones Karen had pushed around for years, they started speaking up. Linda, from 2 doors down, voice shaking, told me how Karen made her toss a garden gnome. Tom got fined for trash left out an hour. Even Harold, who'd let his lawn grow tall while his wife was in the hospital, got 3 envelopes. But now the tide was turning. Neighbors started leaving wind chimes, gnomes, even an extra trash can by the curb, a silent protest. Then came the emergency meeting. The hall was packed, everyone tense, waiting for a showdown. Karen stood at the podium reciting her list of fines, rules, threats. But this time the crowd didn't cower. Linda stood up, called her out on the gnome. Tom spoke. Harold spoke. Every grudge, every petty punishment, every humiliation Karen had ever delivered came pouring out. The board froze, powerless. Karen's mask started to crack. You don't understand, she shouted. People like him. And then she bit her tongue. But it was too late. The room erupted. People like who, Karen? Her clipboard hit the floor, eyes wild, the spell finally broken. For the first time, she looked small, scared, just a person, not a tyrant. She bolted for the door, the echo of her exit ringing through the hall. That was it. The board removed her as president. The neighborhood cheered, folks even hugged right there on the spot. Next morning, the sun rose over a different place. Kids played outside. Neighbors put out gnomes, left trash cans an extra day, laughed on porches. Karen's house sat, dark blinds closed, roses wilting. Some say she moved. Others whisper she's still there plotting. Me, I stopped caring. I finally felt like I belonged. For the first time since moving in, I stood on my porch, coffee in hand, listening to birds instead of lectures. But every now and then, late at night, I'll catch a flicker of movement behind those blinds. And I wonder what happens when someone like Karen's got nothing left to lose. Is she really gone for good, or is the story just waiting for the next chapter? So, what do you think? Does a neighborhood ever truly get rid of its Karen? Or does that kind of control always find a way to sneak back in? Drop your thoughts below. And hey, if you've ever fought back against an HOA bully or had to outsmart a neighborhood tyrant, tell your story. I want to hear it. Because sometimes the only way to keep the peace is to share the war.